Hey guys, my name is Branko. I'm a Creative Roads Manager here at MikroE, and today, during this webinar session, I will try to showcase how you can transition yourself from the old Pro development environment to the new NECTO Studio development environment. And one keynote right away. There will be 4 sessions, not 5, but 4 sessions in total, which are going to describe the transition from the Pro development environment to the NECTO Studio. This one is the first one in this mini-series, and obviously this one is going to be a little more of a descriptive one. The other 3 webinar sessions will provide some more advanced topics and some more code examples. Okay, in terms of this webinar session, I will cover 3 topics. The first topic would be a little bit more about the history of the Pro development environment. The second topic that I'm going to cover is a comparison. So I will compare Pro development environment to the NECTO Studio development environment. And the third thing that I'm going to perform, the third topic that I'm going to discuss is the migration, live migration. So I will migrate some simple code example, some simple code project from the mikroC Pro development environment to the NECTO Studio development environment. And why should I do that? Well, I would like you to continue using the familiar mikroC workflow inside our modern IDE, inside NECTO Studio. Okay, let's dive right in. So, history, a little bit more about the history of Pro development environment. 20 years ago, first Pro compiler got created, and it was a mikroPascal for PIC. mikroPascal Pro for PIC was a compiler which had its own IDE, development environment, and it was called mikroPascal Pro for PIC. And I'm going to show it to you right now. And here it is. Yeah, it sounds familiar, right? mikroPascal Pro for PIC. Okay, and it quickly became popular, leading to the release of other development environments. Just give me a second. Other development environments such as mikroC Pro for PIC, mikrobasic Pro for PIC, and of course mikroPascal Pro for PIC, as well as some other development environments for other microcontroller families. For example, the DSPIC architecture, the PIC32 development environments for the PIC32 microcontroller architecture, obviously ARM architecture and development environments for the ARM architecture, AVR compilers and environments, FT90 compilers and development environments, and of course 8051 compilers and development environments. Okay. Over time, 21 compilers had been developed. These compilers provided an ecosystem enriched with libraries. Just give me a second. Okay. And here it is. Okay, cool. Yeah, those compilers had software libraries, those compilers had examples and development tools that became pretty familiar in embedded software development industry. However, as technology evolved, maintaining those 22 separate compilers as well 21 separate development environments became a challenge. Really, MikroE as a company had to focus on for one development environment that unified all compilers under a single box. This led to the creation of NECTO Studio. My goal today is to make this transition as smooth as possible for you guys. So let's explore what NECTO Studio has to offer. And now we are entering the second stage of this webinar, the comparison stage. So let's start with NECTO Studio. NECTO Studio is a cross-platform IDE with 12 toolchains and 2300 microcontrollers, support microcontrollers, and it includes some kind of features. And I'm going to explain some features to you guys right now. Let's transition to NECTO Studio right now. Okay, here it is. The feature number 1, which is very popular nowadays, is the NECTO Code Assistant. If you wanted to open up NECTO Code Assistant, you would jump into the code section over there, and after that you would select the AI tab over here. And obviously, as you would use the ChatGPT, the popular ChatGPT application, you can use the NECTO code assistant as same as the ChatGPT. So for example, hey, can you provide me with code example for the tester click, for example. And NECTO Code Assistant is going to return the complete main.c file of the tester clipboard. After that, you could basically combine multiple clipboards and utilize NECTO Code Assistant to perform the action. So once again, you could ask, hey, can you combine tester click with button play click, and NECTO Code Assistant is going to return to you the complete combined project, which includes tester clipboard and button play clipboard. Yeah, that's pretty nice, right? Really. Okay. And yeah, what else? Well, NECTO Studio includes SDK-based framework. So just give me a second. If you want to use the SDK, you can jump into the package manager over here and make sure the SDK had been installed. Of course, you can update the SDK over here. Okay, what is the SDK? SDK is the software development kit, and we are using the mikroSDK. And this development kit has a bunch of embedded libraries available to you free of charge. Yep. There are development boards definitions as well. There are microcontroller definitions, and this SDK is the powerhouse for the clipboards because it basically helps clipboards to function properly. Okay, what's next? NECTO Studio includes CMake build system. Okay, just give me a second to open up some simple project. Okay, and I could open up tester click software package right now, and I can install it. And after I install this tester clipboard software package, I will be presented with three things: the library, software library for the tester clipboard, which is based on the CMake build system, the example main.c file, which is once again based on the CMake build system, and the third thing is definitely a CMake list.txt file, which is once again obviously based on the CMake build system. And what this CMake build system is going to do, well, with it we have made sure that all of those clipboards, 1800 clipboards, are working as fast as possible for you guys. So with CMake you can perform a project name if you want. You can insert some source files, some header files with the add executable command, etc., etc. Okay, this is why we have used CMake build system inside NECTO Studio. Okay, what's next? NECTO Studio includes debugging over Wi-Fi. Really? Yes, you can use CodeGrip, which is a Wi-Fi programmer debugger, and you can flash or debug your application wirelessly. Well, you may be wondering, what does it mean? To learn more about wirelessly programming a microcontroller, you can jump into hardware setup. Let's jump into hardware setup wizard. I'm just going to close this one, and here it is. Here is the setup wizard over there. And because dealing with the Wi-Fi programmer debugger device is a hardware configuration thing. Okay, once we are in the setups wizard, you can configure this complete project right away by going from the compiler section, board section, MCU settings, and the display selection. And here it is, guys. Here is the selection of the programmer debugger device. And in particular, are you going to use the USB capable CodeGrip device, or are you going to use the Wi-Fi capable programmer debugger device? In our case, we are definitely going to try to use the Wi-Fi enabled CodeGrip device. Okay, and how would you do that? Well, if you perform scan, you would basically see here are the two code grip devices which currently have a Wi-Fi wireless capability in my company, and Code Grip Suite, which is an application for the Code Grip device, scanned those two Code Grip devices and found out that they are Wi-Fi capable. Okay, so this is how you program Wi-Fi. This is how you program microcontrollers via Wi-Fi, by using Code Grip device. Of course, make sure, just give me a second. Make sure to utilize the Code Grip manual for this device, because you will basically have all the configuration settings explained, because you have to configure the Code Grip device such that it works with the Wi-Fi. Okay, now just give me a second. What else is here that we have to explain? Okay, next, NECTO Studio includes interface for developing graphical user interface applications. Okay, and what does it mean? Well, here it is. Just like the mikroC Pro development environment had visual TFT option, so VTFT application inside the Pro development environment, NECTO Studio has that option as well, but we included the more advanced GUI apps to be built, and we have used open source LVGL graphics library and incorporated this into NECTO Studio. This is how I've got this example to work. Okay, next, NECTO Studio includes real-time data acquisition with plot. And what is plot? Here it is. This is the plot feature. And what does it mean? You don't need some external applications for visualizing data. You can run plot feature to visualize, for example, temperature data. In essence, okay, let me just, okay, here it is. Here is the temperature visualization panel, and here is the code. And if you run the debug feature inside of the NECTO Studio, you would be able to visualize the temperature data, for example, the temperature data from some temperature sensor. I have used the Thermo 21 clipboard to visualize and to capture the current temperature. And yeah, this is how you basically provide plot feature within the NECTO Studio, free of charge. Okay? And the last thing that I'm going to talk about, the last feature that I'm going to talk about, is that NECTO Studio includes Planet Debug for remote hardware access. Okay? And what is Planet Debug? Just give me a second. I'm going to transition to NECTO Studio right now. Okay, here it is. And I'm going to cancel this one. Okay, we were talking about the Planet Debug, right? So you will have Planet Debug feature available to you on the homepage of the NECTO Studio. And here it is. Here is the Planet Debug. And what is Planet Debug? Well, Planet Debug is a planet, sort of planet with a lot of development boards for you to debug them free of charge remotely. And that's not all. We even placed some clipboards onto them, so you can build some custom project on your own. So in essence, you don't need hardware to be at your home, at your office. You just connect to the Planet Debug and start building your projects with NECTO's Code Assistant, for example. Okay, that was a simple thing. Okay, that was a simple list of things NECTO Studio has to offer. Now let's break down the key advantages of NECTO Studio compared to the mikroC Pro. Okay guys, that was a simple list of things that NECTO Studio can offer. Now let's break down the key advantages of NECTO Studio compared to the mikroC Pro. Okay, feature number one, cross-platform availability. NECTO Studio can run on the macOS, on the Linux, and on the Windows. mikroC Pro cannot run on the Linux and on the macOS. It can just run on the Windows OS. Okay, feature number two, support the toolchains. Mikro Pro development environment has one toolchain per development environment. When you compare it with the NECTO Studio has 12 toolchains. Okay, feature number three, build system. mikroC Pro development environment uses the proprietary build system, which is a closed source build system, and NECTO Studio is definitely using the CMake, which I already described to you guys. Okay, framework, that would be the feature number 4. Framework, library-based framework, closed source library-based framework is being used in the Pro development environment, which is not that good right now. And when you compare it with NECTO Studio, NECTO Studio is using the open source SDK based approach. So in essence, you can modify the SDK as you would like to modify, and you can modify the clipboard software packages as you would like, because it is all open source. Okay, the next feature would be AI code assistant. mikroC Pro development environment does not have any AI code based assistance. NECTO Studio has it, and I already discussed all of those things to you guys, and I already demoed it to you. Okay, next feature would be syntax highlighting. Pro development environments have some kind of basic syntax highlighting. NECTO Studio has advanced syntax highlighting. Okay, next feature would be code completion. The Pro development environment has some basic code completion capability. NECTO Studio has the IntelliSense. Okay, and the next feature that we could discuss is the Wi-Fi debugging. I already mentioned that, and Pro development environments unfortunately do not have the capability to debug microcontrollers, debug complete projects or Wi-Fi. NECTO Studio has that feature available to you guys. Okay. The next feature would be remote hardware access. Pro development environment does not have it. NECTO Studio has it, and it is called a Planet Debug, and I already showcased it to you as well. Okay, the next feature is a real-time data acquisition. mikroC Pro development environment kinda has that feature, plot feature. It is a separate software library, and you can use it in the Pro development environment, and NECTO Studio has it as well, but with a more advanced logic behind. So yeah, I showcased that plot feature as well. So yeah, cool. The next feature that I'm going to discuss is the graphical user interface development. Once again, Pro development environment has it. It is called VTFT or Visual TFT application inside the Pro development environment. NECTO Studio has the VTFT incorporated inside it, but you can start using more advanced feature, which is using the open sourced LVGL graphics library feature inside the NECTO Studio. So you can, in essence, you can generate more advanced graphical user interfaces, but of course you would use some more powerful microcontrollers, which are again supported inside NECTO Studio. Okay, for example, STM F4, F7 type of microcontrollers, etc., etc. Okay, the second to last thing that I'm going to discuss is the hardware software configuration. Okay, I'm going to describe it a little more in details right now, this hardware software configuration, because I want to make sure that you understand what is the difference between the hardware configuration in the Pro development environment versus the hardware configuration in the NECTO Studio environment. Okay, I'm going to switch myself to the mikroC Pro for PIC right now. Okay, and here it is guys. Here is the famous mikroC Pro for PIC development environment. And how would you perform the hardware configuration? And you would perform the hardware configuration by going into the project settings, and you would jump into the edit project configuration tab. And here it is. Here is how you would basically configure hardware settings, microcontroller settings for each project inside the mikroC Pro development environment. On the other side, let's compare it to the NECTO Studio. Just give me a second to transfer myself to the NECTO Studio. Okay, here it is. So you have setups wizard in which you can have multiple or just one hardware setup configuration. And let me open up that setups wizard. Okay, setups wizard over there, and here it is. Okay, and yeah, basically you could have one hardware configuration. You could have multiple hardware configurations, but the main thing about hardware setups wizard and hardware setups inside NECTO Studio is that you can use one particular hardware setup for multiple projects. That is the main thing about the hardware setups inside NECTO Studio. Let me demo it. Okay, I'm just going to open up some software package. For example, I can run the tester clipboard software package, and here it is. I have opened the software package for the tester clipboard, and as you can see in the lower right corner of the NECTO Studio, I'm currently using the hardware setup which is called Clicker 4 for STM32F4. I could use some other setup, right? So I'm just going to click over there, and I could transfer myself to the PIC architecture. So from the ARM architecture, which is using the STM32F407 microcontroller, I could switch to the PIC architecture, and I could use the same project with the PIC 18F97J42 microcontroller. Let's switch to it. Okay, after choosing this hardware setup, I will be able to build this project with the PIC microcontroller, and here it is. Perfect, nice. Okay, that was the explanation of the hardware software configuration comparison between the mikroC Pro development environment and the NECTO Studio development environment. The last thing that I have to discuss is the pricing thing. Okay, let me switch to myself right now. Yeah, okay, perfect. The last thing that I have to talk about is the pricing. What is the pricing logic between the mikroC Pro development environment and the NECTO Studio development environment? mikroC has one-time buy option, which is kind of practical, but you can run NECTO Studio free of charge, which is awesome. Of course, there is a subscription option, $29 per month, and if you start using NECTO Studio for commercial projects. Okay, and you could ask yourself, why should you migrate to NECTO Studio in the first place? Well, besides all of those things, besides all of those features that I described to you guys, here are 5 key reasons you should consider transitioning. Number 1, cross-platform compatibility and availability. NECTO works on macOS, Linux, and Windows. Number 2, powerful toolchains and framework. NECTO supports CMake, open source SDK, and industry standards in terms of the C programming language. So it's basically C11 and C17. Okay. Number 3 key reason to transition yourself to the NECTO Studio is the advanced debugging. NECTO features Wi-Fi debugging, remote hardware access, and real-time data visualization via the plot feature. Okay. Number 4 is the AI-powered coding assistance. NECTO features NECTO Code Assistant, which I already showcased to you guys, and this NECTO Code Assistant can help you generate code. There is the Tab 9 feature as well, which is very popular solution for code auto-completion. Okay, and the last thing is definitely a free and flexible pricing. NECTO is available free for non-commercial use, with business options for professionals. Okay guys, we are done with the second part of this webinar, the comparison part. Now, finally, let's get hands-on and go through a simple code migration example. Okay, just let me focus on the NECTO Studio right now. Just give me a second. Okay, and here it is. Okay, I will close this example. Okay, and I will make sure that NECTO Studio is fully compatible with the next logical thing, the last thing that I'm going to discuss, and this is the live migration of a legacy example to the NECTO Studio. Okay, and I'm going to transition to the mikroC Pro for PIC right now, just to make sure that we understand what are we going to do right now. Okay, and here it is. Okay guys, this is the project that we are going to migrate right now. It is a simple LED blinking project, and yeah, I'm definitely going to migrate this one. And what this project has is basically trace registers that are dealing with the direction, and the latch registers that are definitely going to mimic the LED blinking effect. Those latch registers are in essence going to provide low voltage level and high voltage levels to the microcontroller pins. Okay, and the last thing that we have to understand that we are using the PIC 18 F47K42 microcontroller. Okay, cool. Now let's focus on the NECTO Studio right now. Okay guys, let's migrate this project from Pro development environment to the NECTO Studio development environment. And because we're dealing with the project, some kind of project, I will try to open it. And yes, I said I will try to open it. The opening of the project will not be successful, but do not mind about that, do not worry about that guys. I'm going to explain everything. Okay, so try to open the project and make sure to paste the project path, just like that. Okay, after that you will be presented with two project files in essence. The first one is the LED blinking and the second one is the LED curtain. We will focus on the LED blinking project file, and you may be wondering what is this extension MCPPI. This extension is essentially telling us, hey, this is the the project file for the mikroC Pro for PIC. Okay, and this is why I'm going to select this one, LED blinking project file. Double click on it, and here it is. Here is the first issue that we have, guys. We do not have the we do not have the hardware setup which is going to work for this legacy type of a project. Okay, see, it says incompatible setup, incompatible setups. So let's create a new hardware setup which is going to be compatible with this legacy project. Select new, and because we are dealing with the mikroC Pro for PIC development environment, focus on this particular compiler. So we are going to focus on the mikroC advanced integration for PIC compiler, because we are dealing with the mikroC Pro for PIC based project. So once again, select this compiler, or toolchain should I say it, and here is the second issue that we have. The SDK is selected to be used. The selected SDK is the MikroSDK. We don't need this one. We need the legacy SDK. We need the legacy set of software development kit. We need the legacy set of libraries, hardware configurations, etc., etc. Well, I'm going to cancel this hardware setup wizard. I'm going to cancel the whole opening the project wizard, because I do not have that legacy software development kit installed. And where do you install software development kits? You would install software development kits from within the package manager. So once again, jump into package manager, install the legacy software development kit for the PIC development environment and for PIC compiler, and then we are going to try to open the example. Okay, let's do it right away. Once again, open package manager, clear this filter right now. Okay, and try searching for the mikroC. Okay, here it is. Here are the software development kits for all of those architectures. mikroC Pro for DSPIC, AVR, ARM, PIC, PIC32. And here are the toolchains DSPIC, PIC, ARM, PIC, AVR, etc., etc. Okay, we already have the toolchain, the compiler installed, but we need the set of libraries, the legacy SDK, sort of speak, for the PIC architecture. Okay, and here it is. Here is the mikroC Pro for PIC legacy software development kit. Just install it, and after the installation had been successful, we are definitely going to return to the open project wizard. Okay, just give it a go, and perfect, nice. Let's return to the home page. Let's try to open the project right now. LED blinking. Okay, open up. Yes. Okay, and here it is. We are back at the hardware configuration wizard. Now we will be able to create a hardware setup which is using the legacy mikroC Pro for PIC software development kit. Okay, just jump into the new section. Make sure that the mikroC advanced integration for PIC compiler had been selected, and here is the key. Here is the key note over here, guys. Click on the advanced options, then jump into the libraries settings over here and focus on the choose SDK version. Once again, we are not going to use the MikroSDK. We are going to use the mikroC for PIC legacy set of libraries. Okay, this is the key. This is the key point over here, guys. Select mikroC for PIC legacy and click save. Of course, I'm going to finish creating a hardware setup for this particular project. Okay, we are going to definitely use the EasyPIC version 8 development board because it has zip package, zip socket for the PIC 18F47K42 microcontroller. Okay, the next thing, microcontroller selection. PIC 18F47K42 microcontroller has already been selected for us, which is nice. After that, I'm not going to use any display. And finally, I'm going to stick with the code grip device. You can easily connect and work with the mikroprog for PIC programmer debugger device, but I'm going to stick with the code grip device, and I'm going to explain why I did it just in a second. I think that you're going to be surprised, positively surprised. Just hold on for a second. Okay, that's it. After clicking finish, the hardware setup is going to be configured. The NECTO Studio is going to configure all of those things that we need in order to run the legacy project, the LED project, inside the NECTO Studio. Okay, here it is, guys. Just rename the hardware setup. Okay, perfect. This is the hardware setup which is going to help us run LED blinking project with the legacy set of libraries. Okay, and after clicking choose, voila, here it is, guys. Here is the complete code example, and it is using the legacy approach, the approach from the Pro development environment. Of course, we have to check, is it going to build? And yes, perfect, guys. Okay, and the last thing, a little bit of a surprise for you guys. You can run this example right away. Yes, you do not need any hardware. You can run this code example from within the Planet debug. There is one thing that you just have to configure. You just make sure to jump into the file options on the upper left corner of the NECTO Studio, jump into the NECTO preferences, select general settings, and make sure this line is unchecked. Always use default Planet debug setup. Make sure that this line is unchecked. Why? Because all of our Planet debug hardware setups are definitely using the MikroSDK approach, the new approach. And it's obvious for obviously reasons, because we are constantly adding more clipboards, adding more features inside NECTO. We want to stick with the SDK approach because it is faster for all the developers worldwide to utilize the SDK approach, the MikroSDK approach. Okay, Once you are made sure that this setting is unchecked, I'm going to click on the OK, and I'm going to go to the Planet debug right now and try searching this particular microcontroller, the PIC18F47K42 microcontroller, because this example is for this particular microcontroller. Okay, I'm just going to paste it over here, and perfect, guys. Here is, for example, here is a Planet debug setup which has this particular microcontroller on it. I'm going to connect to it, and okay, perfect, guys. The next thing that you have to make sure, because we are dealing with the LED project, LED blinking project, make sure that the port LEDs are in the on state, not in the off state. So this is basically hardware switch, and once you are connected to the hardware setup, make sure that the port LEDs switches are in the on state, not in the off state. Okay, cool. And yeah, here are the port LEDs, and after I click on the flash button, you will be able to see the LED blinking in action. And here it is, guys. Here is the imported Pro project from the Pro development environment inside NECTO development environment, and it is working. And this is, guys, how you start transitioning yourself from the Pro development environment to the NECTO Studio development environment. Okay, guys, that's it. I would like to switch this webinar to the Q&A session, and let's start. One of the viewers of this webinar session, it was Haluk, I think, with the hashtag Haluk. He previously asked us, and it was about 2 hours ago, there have been no updates to mikroC for 6 years, and during this time we have switched to different IDEs. That was his statement, and the answer would be, you're absolutely right to point out that the mikroC Pro hasn't seen updates in recent years. For over 20 years, we have been developing various hardware and software tools, all with one goal: to save engineers time. We know how much you love mikroC. It was the first compiler for many of you. But staying true to our mission, we are now applying all the knowledge and experience gained through mikroC's development to create NECTO Studio even better. We truly believe that transitioning to NECTO Studio will make your work easier and faster, thanks to its multi-architecture support and the fact that it's available across all major operating systems. Okay, I think that I answered your question, Haluk. So, okay, let's do another question. Yeah, there is another question, and it is from Dushan, I think. Yeah, cool. And Dushan is asking, how can I use ADC library with PIC18F47K42? Good question. Okay, just give me a second. I will transfer myself to the NECTO Studio right now. Okay, perfect. Okay, you're asking, well, how can I add a legacy ADC library inside the project? Okay, I'm currently in the LED blinking project of with the mikroC Pro for PIC development environment, and or should I say compiler. So if you want to add legacy ADC library, you would perform the following thing. Just jump into the library manager over here, and here you will be able to see all the legacy libraries for the mikroC AI or advanced integration for PIC compiler. So you're asking myself to enable the ADC library, and here it is. Here is how you basically do that. ADC library, and that's it. And this is how you would basically enable the ADC library, legacy ADC library. Okay, and let's transition to myself once again. Okay, cool. That will be the answer to your question, Dushan, so thanks for asking that. Another subject all of you guys might be asking, well, can I import my existing mikroC projects into NECTO Studio? Yes, I already have done it. And NECTO Studio provides an open project feature that helps you bring mikroC Pro projects into the new environment. While some manual adjustments may be needed, for example, you would have to tweak the CMake file in order to complete some advanced projects that you already have done in the legacy mikroC libraries. The core project and the core structure can be reused with minimal effort. Okay, that would be another question that you might be asking yourself, guys. Okay, another subject you might be asking is, does NECTO Studio support all the same microcontrollers as mikroC Pro? Well, NECTO Studio supports a wide range of microcontrollers across ARM, PIC, VSPIC, AVR families, just like mikroC Pro. In fact, let's check it, right? I'm going to open, just give me a second. I'm going to switch to the NECTO Studio once again. Okay, here we are. And you could jump into the help section of the NECTO Studio. And if you want to see what microcontrollers are supported inside NECTO Studio, you would basically jump into the appendices over here. And you would select the supported microcontrollers. And here it is, guys. Here is the summary of the supported microcontrollers. But if you want to check out the complete list, here it is. Here is the complete list of supported microcontrollers inside NECTO Studio. Yeah, 3,492 microcontrollers currently, and you could just search for some microcontroller just like this. PK18 F47K42, and here it is. Here it is, guys. Okay. I think that I answered this question that you might be asking. So let's transition to myself once again. Okay. Another question could be, how is code compatibility handled between mikroC Pro and NECTO Studio? Well, mikroC code is largely compatible with NECTO Studio, especially if you have used standard libraries. However, NECTO Studio uses MikroSDK as a proprietary framework, which is modular and more structured. Okay. That will be another question that you might be asking. Okay. Oh, you have another question. Nice. It was from Bob Hunt, and he's asking, with most languages being eliminated, what is the progress on MikroPython and others? Oh, good question. Good question. We are definitely going to support MikroPython. It's definitely a matter of time. Because of the AI thing, MikroPython is definitely going to be in our pipeline, and it is already in our pipeline. That's for sure. So Bob Hunt, thanks for asking that, and you could ask even more questions. So yeah, cool. So I can officially say that the MikroPython is definitely going to be supported. That would be the answer for Bob Hunt's question. Okay, just give me a second. Okay. Another question that you might be asking is NECTO Studio faster or more efficient compared to mikroC Pro? Definitely. NECTO Studio features a modern IDE architecture. It is based on the Qt framework, so C++ is in the background under the hood. So we do have faster build tools. We have integrated debugger and smoother library management. It is definitely designed for real-time productivity. So everything from editing, compiling, debugging, and graphical user interface development is significantly more streamlined, as you could have witnessed with the LVGL GUI app that I have showcased to you. Yeah, okay. And okay, Another question that you might be asking is, how do I work with clipboards in NECTO Studio? Okay, NECTO Studio has native support for clipboards via MikroSDK 2.0. So you can easily integrate drivers from the library manager. So I'm going to switch to the NECTO Studio right now. Just give me a second. Okay, transition, perfect. Okay, if you wanted to work with clipboards, you would jump into the package manager, you would download some of the packages, and after that you will basically enable them within the library manager. And that's it, guys. That's it, guys, if you were wondering how to perform such a thing. Okay, I'm going to transition to myself once again, and please, guys, ask anything that you want. Okay, I have some more questions to be answered. So what is the difference between MikroSDK 2.0 and old libraries? MikroSDK is a modular, portable, and hardware independent. So it separates application logic from hardware drivers and supports seamless integration of new hardware. It's a major upgrade over the older monolithic libraries used in the mikroC Pro. Okay. Another question that you might be asking yourself is, can I debug my projects in NECTO Studio like I did in mikroC Pro? Yes, that's for sure, yes. NECTO Studio offers integrated debugging with powerful tools. It supports hardware debuggers like mikroprog. You already know that programmer debugger device, the white programmer debugger device that you got used to using. And besides mikroprog programmer debugger device, NECTO Studio supports code grip device as well. Okay, and all of those include features like breakpoints, watch variables, and step executions. Okay, another question that you might be asking is, what resources are available to help me learn NECTO Studio quickly? Well, there's plenty of support to get you started. Official webinars just like this one that I'm a host of. There is an official YouTube channel and we insert some YouTube content as well. So you could definitely check out our YouTube channel to learn more about NECTO Studio. Okay, there are some step-by-step tutorials. There is a detailed documentation, and there are some GitHub example repositories. So go check out official MikroElektronikas or MikroE's GitHub repository. Okay, and the community forums. Yeah, we have one official community forum for you guys. But besides all of those things, NECTO Studio, I think that NECTO Studio is a complete interface, is intuitive, so it makes the learning curve quite manageable. That's my opinion. Okay, and there is another question from Bob Hunt, right? Let me read that through. Okay, is further work being done on the code generator? An example would be for creating interrupts leading edge. Okay, I get it. Trailing edge, what the generator does today is very basic. I understand that. Yeah, that's a very nice question. In terms of the code generator, yeah, we have that in pipeline. That's a good question, really. We have that in pipeline, and you are definitely going to make sure that code that is being generated by the NECTO Studio is more versatile and more verbose to you guys. So yes, the final answer to you, Bob, is yes. So there is some further work in terms of the code generation. So thanks Bob for asking that question. It's a pretty nice question, so give it a go and go ask me something else. I would be very pleased to answer all of your questions. Okay, let's give it a go with some other questions. You may be asking yourself, can you create a new project, but with legacy setup? No, you cannot do that, but you can import legacy project and start with that, just like I did with the LED blinking example. Okay, so you basically import some legacy project, and you can start building up your legacy project in that way. Okay. Okay, and yeah, I could answer some code related questions as well, and I think maybe Bob Hunt is the person which asked in the previous webinar session, how can I switch between toolchains in the NECTO Studio? And I could provide you, Bob, with that particular answer. Just give me a second. Okay, I'm going to transition to the NECTO Studio. Okay, and let me just return to the help section over there. Okay, and perfect. Okay, once again, I think that was the Bob Hunt that asked the question in the previous webinar that I was a host of, and the question was, how can I switch between toolchains in NECTO Studio? Okay, and Bob, I think that yeah, you can jump into the frequently asked questions tab over here, and here it is. Here is the answer. I basically created a question in the frequently asked question tab because of you. So thank you, thank you. So please ask as many questions as you want, and this is how you would basically do it. You would basically perform something like this. Yeah, that's it. So go check out this code example in the help section of the NECTO Studio manual. Okay. Okay, let me transition to myself. Okay, perfect. And yeah, I think yeah, I would like to ask you a question, some question about the time of this webinar. So is this time that I'm holding this webinar, is this time good for you? So should we schedule some other time as well, guys? So please do add comments. I would like to get some feedback from you guys. So is this time of holding these webinar sessions, is it okay or is it not okay for you guys? Okay. And okay, there is some more comments from Bob. I'm going to read it. And first, I want to thank the whole team at MikroE for the great new help menus and stuff. For I have struggled for years, and it is now actually very complete and great. Oh, thanks, Bob. In terms of the help menu and all of those things, and the general help of the NECTO Studio and the SDK, you will definitely see some major progress in forthcoming weeks. So I think that you are going to be surprised about that. So stay tuned. So stay tuned, Bob. In terms of the help menus, in terms of the tutorials, in terms of the reference manuals, in terms of the reference manuals for the SDK itself, etc., etc. So stay tuned, and you will see the end results for about 1 month. So thank you, Bob, for asking that question. And yeah, is there any question for you guys to be answered? I'm going to wait for a bit. And yeah, if Bob has something else to be answered, so please do ask some questions. If not, guys, I'm definitely going to wrap up this webinar session right now. And I'm going to say that today we explored 3 subjects. The history of mikroC Pro development environment. That was the first subject that we have explored. We have explored the comparison between mikroC Pro and the NECTO Studio. And the third subject, the third topic that I have explained was the simple migration process. In essence, I migrated the simple project, LED blinking project, from the mikroC Pro development environment to the NECTO Studio environment. And please just remember, this is the first webinar session in terms of the migration from the NECTO, from the old Pro development environment to the new development environment. So please stay tuned. Once again, this is the first out of 4 sessions. And yeah, if you're ready to make a switch, you could download NECTO Studio today and take advantage of its powerful features. Okay, and if there are no more questions, let me just see it through. Just give me a second. Yeah, there are no more questions. So thank you guys. Thank you for joining, and I will definitely see you in the next webinar. See ya.